this book called Born Standing Up. It's a great book, and it's even a similar size, and I would say kind of a similar cover. But it's this slim memoir that basically chronicles his life up until he starts Saturday Night Live. So it's like this subterranean exploration of all the things you didn't know about him, clowning and working at Disneyland and stand-up, and he kind of takes you right up into the point where, oh, right, well, that's the Steve Martin we know, and he just stops there. It's like the backstage corridors of his life, and I really love that. So structurally, and I read that years ago, maybe almost a decade ago, but I thought of that a lot when I was writing this, because that's essentially sort of the same story I tell. And then in terms of just writers who I love, James Baldwin, Joy Williams, Sadie Smith, the Claudia Rankine book, Citizen was a great book, and really incredible. I love Lori Moore, and other memoirs. Oh, Katharine Hepburn wrote an amazing memoir that's just called Me. And I read a lot of film and actress and actor biographies and hagiographies and memoirs when I was young, and I just remember just that. Also, she wrote. Katharine Hepburn wrote about when she was filming The African Queen. She wrote this slim book about that experience. So. Yeah, I try to just read all the time, but I would say those authors that I mentioned were ones that I really think of when I think of prose. And I wanted, as you said, it doesn't start traditionally. I wanted to start it with a sense of suspense. I love suspense. I love tension throughout the story. I like that as a narrative device. So I try to think of those things.
I got the signal. It's time for Q and A. I think we have time for maybe 2 questions, 3 quick ones, 3 quick ones. Is there a mic somewhere? Someone will bring you one.
Well, then I have to put my costume on.
All hands on the bad one. I was not prepared. That's just, the costume speaks for itself. By the way, that's the name of a Slater Kinney album. I cannot assume that people know what we're talking about.
That was so quick.
I am.
That was for dog ears.
What it is, Jessica, is 4 hands, and then she had devil horns. The bad one. If you think the devil's bad. If you worship him, then you wouldn't get that.
My question is, you have said, or sung, reality is the new fiction, truth is man-made, and nostalgia is a whore. So I'm just wondering if your memoir is a way of kind of fighting back against that.
It's just whores for nostalgia the whole time. That song is a specific sort of entity, and it doesn't have a relationship with the book. That was, that Entertain, which you're speaking to, is, it was kind of written specifically in this sort of reactionary way towards this kind of sense of like a stifling, a way we felt like creativity and narration was being stifled. And yeah, I wasn't thinking about that in terms of this book, but I did say all those things in that song.
Hi. Speaking of all hands on the bad one, you were wearing a bunny costume, correct? And apparently...
No, I wasn't.
No?
You mean, are you talking about the cover of that record?
Yeah.
That's not me.
No?
That's no one we know. That's just a found photo.
I vaguely remember reading multiple accounts of Janet saying that was you, and you danced yourself into a frenzy and had to be carried off the dance floor.
This is such a lesson. This is such a lesson in not believing things that you read online. And everyone used to think that I was the one that would make up this sort of fake information. When you read my book, you will realize that you kind of have to create a mythology for yourself. So I think Janet was just. I'm sorry she was pulling your leg. That's definitely not me. I'll tell her you're mad.
Hi.
Hi.
So Slater Kinney is my favorite band for like most of my life now, and your lyrics have always been really, really important to me as a fan. So I wanted to hear some about your process of writing lyrics in particular, and kind of some of the give and take between you and Corin on coming up with lyrics.
Sure. Well, the way that we write is very collaborative, and often in terms of lyrics, whoever kind of comes up with a melody, or if one of us has sort of a stronger idea about what the theme of the song is, often we will just sort of sing, kind of, for lack of a better word, fake lyrics in order to serve the melody, just to give the melody like beats and structure and syllables, so you kind of know what the phraseology is. And if one of us feels more attached, if one of us seems to be doing more of the singing, then usually that person will come up with the theme for the song and say, okay, I think this is going to be about this, or I'm singing about this topic or this idea. And then what's hard is that often neither of us will write our permanent lyrics until we go into the studio. So it's a little bit of a guessing game. Like she'll say, here's 4 lines, or I'll say, here's a couple lines. And so it's very interpretive. We're almost sort of interpreting what we think the other person is going to sing about. So it's kind of this guessing game. And I think Janet says that we are sort of have ESP, and I don't think she's too far off in terms of how we can be quite symbiotic in terms of our writing process. So we're never too far off. It's uncanny sometimes without truly knowing what the other person is writing, that both sides of our stories serve the song in a way that works. And it also contributes, I think, to some of the oddity of this band. And so we kind of relish that.
I think we have time for 2 more questions. I have one right here.
Hi, my name is Ariel.
Hey.
Since we're in art museum, I was wondering what is your favorite painting? Also, I have a small piece of art to give you.
You do?
But more importantly, I would like to know what your favorite painting is.
Gosh, my favorite painting. That's hard. I feel like it'd be like a John Kern or Alice Neal painting. Okay, I'll just say those. Is this a painting of my dogs? Yes, I want it no matter what, and I'm so flattered that you made it. By the way, that might have sounded like I love paintings of my dogs, by the way. Whether it's that or something totally different, I'm very grateful that you took the time. Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Brownstein.
Hey.
Here. Hey.
Okay, I'm just in the dark. Yeah.
Hi, Ms. Brownstein. Right up here.
Hi, there you are. You are literally in the darkest spot, right? Just to confirm. By the way, you're the last question of the night, so just...
I know. I'm going to try to make this really quick for you.
No, I wasn't going to say quick. Just remember, we're going to all leave. You're setting the tone for this.
Okay. Well, after this question, I'm going to have to be the first to leave because I don't want to get beat up. I'm probably the only person here who has yet to see Portlandia.
No, that's probably not true. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying, you're good. You're fine. But you should. But watch it tonight, please. All.
You briefly discussed how Portlandia relates to Sleater-Kinney tonight. Is there anything subjective that you can say about a little bit more about how the two relate?
Yeah, I think they relate on a couple levels. One is that they are a collaboration. And I think the ways that Sleater-Kinney has allowed me through performance a sense of, as Jessica spoke to, freedom, or kind of finding my way deeper into, ironically, or not ironically, but through persona and performance, having a better sense of self. In the same way, the process of Portlandia and the way that we are allowed. When you read this book, you'll see that there is a lot of aspects of Sleater-Kinney, the kind of the force and a lot of the touring that had a darkness to it was difficult. And Portlandia kind of allows the same sense of elasticity that I feel in Slater-Kinney, but through the lens of absurdism, which for me is a very effective way, I think, of kind of thinking about the thorny things in our culture, like the things that are confusing, contradictory. And we talked a lot about contradiction tonight. To me, humor and absurdity and surrealism are very apt ways of wrestling with some of those things. And in that sense, I feel like Portlandia and Slater-Kinney have a parody. They just and are in conversation with each other. Also, the common through line is me. I mean, I do both. I do both. And it doesn't feel like two different selves. And I think I bring the same desire to have what I do speak to people. And I feel so grateful with Portlandia that people feel a sense of ownership over it. They feel part of a conversation. There is an openness, I think, that Slater-Kinney always possessed and still does, and an openness in Portlandia where we're not, trying to cut people down, with this sort of abrasive humor. We're sort of commenting on it in a way that says, here is a conversation. We're poking fun at ourselves. And I think, coming at it sort of with that openness and kind-heartedness is another way that it's similar to Slater-Kinney. So there you go. Thanks